And that is how you clean and season a cast iron skillet. Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in and welcome back to another episode of Carnivore Kitchen. In today's episode, I'm going to be showing you how to clean a cast iron skillet. But in order to clean a cast iron skillet, we first have to get it a little bit dirty, which is why I'm going to be making some duck liver for breakfast. Now, before we get started, if you would like to continue to see more of these recipe type videos, be sure to smash that like button, and if you're either new to the channel or haven't subscribed yet, be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell, as I will be uploading videos daily, including more recipe videos. Just a few things that you're going to need to get started when making the duck liver. Obviously, you're going to need some duck liver. I have 2 pounds of duck liver right over here. I also have some pink Himalayan sea salt, some powdered blue cheese. I've been on a little bit of a blue cheese kick the last 3 days, so I'm going to incorporate some blue cheese into the liver. I don't normally do this. This is going to be the first time, but let's see how it comes out. And we're also going to need some type of cooking fat. I am going to be using duck fat. You don't have to use duck fat. You could use butter, lard, ghee, anything you want, as long as it is a good fat. Now, one of the big mistakes that a lot of people making, and one of the reasons why a lot of people have difficulty cleaning the cast iron skillet, is because they don't put enough fat in the skillet. So I'm going to put a nice, decent amount in here, and I am going to heat it up while we start to prep the duck liver. Now that we have the duck liver in the pan and it's cooking, next step is going to be to cut up the liver. I'm just going to cut it up into some medium-sized cubes. You don't even have to cut it up. You could skip this step if you want. However, it's going to be a lot better if you do chop it up, because it's going to cook quicker and it'll save you some time. A little bit more mess and a little bit more cleanup in the beginning. However, you can do all the cleanup while you're waiting for the duck liver to cook. Alright, now that the duck liver is all chopped up, next we are going to put it into the skillet. But first, let's go ahead and just move all that fat around. This is another optional step that you can take when making the duck liver. Me, personally, I like to just put a little bit of a lid on here. This is going to allow it to cook a little bit quicker. You don't have to cover it. You can just keep stirring it. However, me personally, I like covering it because it also adds a little bit more water to the pot. And I do plan on taking this to work later to have after my workout. And I'm going to be putting it in this lunch crock. So by adding a little bit more water to the pan, it'll add more to the lunch crock, and then it'll give it a nicer flavor when you reheat it at work. So that's how I'm going to be making it. But you don't have to cover it. You can just put it right in the pan and mix it around. Next, you're just going to remove the lid, stir it around a little bit. We're not going to add the salt until it's almost cooked, and the blue cheese we are going to add on after it's cooked. We're going to put it on directly in the bowl that we place it to. So just go ahead, flip it over a little bit. Try to get as much of it as you can. Spread everything out nice and evenly, that way everything gets evenly cooked. And now we're just going to put the lid back on, let it cook a little bit more, and do that a few more times until it's ready to be salted. Alright, the liver looks like it's ready to be salted. Another tip is when you are getting ready to salt it, these pans can get really, really hot once you start cooking them. So what you want to do is take some type of cloth, wrap it around the handle, that way you don't burn your hand. And now we can just go ahead and salt our duck liver. And then it should be ready in just a few minutes. Another tip that I found for making easier cleanup is I used to fry the duck liver on a pretty low heat. I would put it at around 4.5. And lately, the last few weeks, I've been upping the heat to roughly a level of 6. And I find that with the higher heat, it makes for a lot easier cleanup. Normally when I would cook duck liver, there would be a little bit of a film on the pan at the bottom, even after cleaning it. And ever since raising the heat up to a 6 from a 4, I haven't had that issue at all. So if you do want a little bit of an easier cleanup, then going a little bit higher on the heat will make for easier cleanup. Alright, let's cover that up, leave it in for about another minute or two, and then we could go ahead and transfer it to our pot. Alright, so the duck liver is ready. We can turn off the burner and transfer it to our plate or pot. One of the things that's going to make for cleanup a lot easier is if you clean up right away. So because I'm cleaning it up right away, I'm going to put it in this pot that has a cover, that way it can stay warm while I clean the pot. And I'm gonna just separate this. Half of it I'm gonna consume right now. The other half I am going to consume after my workout. And now that it's in the pot, we are going to add the blue cheese on top. Put roughly a tablespoon. I'll just cover it up, let it soak in there. And the rest I'm going to transfer into this lunch crock. That way I can warm it up and have some nice warm food right after my workout. Another optional step that is going to make cleanup extra easy is once you have your pan completely empty, what you can do is just scrape the bits to the corner and then pour all the liquid into either your plate, or for me, I'm gonna pour it into this crock pot. Okay, now it's time to clean up. We're just gonna wipe the edges off before we actually start with the cleanup. Well, technically you could say that this is the start of the cleanup, wiping off the edges. We are going to take some salt. I'm just gonna use some regular sea salt. You can use non-iodized sea salt. Personally, I like this one over here. I'm not gonna bother using Himalayan or Celtic sea salt or any of that type of stuff because it would just be a waste of money to use that to clean the pot. Once we have the salt, what I like to use that has worked really well for me is a sturdy steel spatula. And what I'll do is just scrape the spatula and it gets rid of absolutely everything in the pan. So if you don't have a steel spatula, you can use a wooden spatula. However, I've used this in the past, and after a few uses, you do start to notice a little bit of grayness on the bottom of the pan. This is going to make it a lot easier to clean up, and it's going to make it a lot better. A couple other optional steps that a lot of people skip, but it's gonna make cleanup a lot easier, is you wanna get the sides of the pan as well, not just the base. So for the sides, you just put the spatula right up against there, pin it, and then scrape. And now one final tip that I found to be really beneficial is, even once you scrape the bottom and the sides, the corners are going to be a little bit dirtier and they're not gonna get 100% clean just from the spatula. So what you can do for that is take a spoon and scrape the corners just to get all that little extra bit off. There we go. Now that we have our skillet all cleaned up, next step is going to be to immerse it in some water. When we put it in the water, what we're going to want to do is put it into hot water. We don't want to put it in cold water. So I'm going to go ahead, get the hot water ready, and I will see you in a couple seconds. Another optional step, once we have the pan clean and we took off all the salt, we can dry it before we heat it, just to make the entire drying process a little bit quicker. So you see all that water over there? When you put it on the stovetop, that's going to have to evaporate. If you just give it a quick little wipe before you put it on the stove, it'll save some time when you go ahead and clean the actual pan. And now that we've salted, scraped, and soaked the cast iron skillet, next is gonna be to dry it. To dry it, we're just gonna put it on the burner, put it on the highest setting possible. We are going to wait for it to smoke up, and then once it smokes, we can take it off. You can wait until it smokes a lot, or you can take it off as soon as it starts smoking. Personally, I like to leave it on until it gets really, really smoky. Then what I'm gonna do is, I'm getting pretty hungry, so I'm gonna go ahead and eat my duck liver, go ahead and take my shower, and once this thing cools off, I'm going to show you how to season it. That way it will stay non-stick for the next time that you use it. But right now, we're just gonna wait for it to smoke up a bit. Alright, so as you can see right now, it is starting to smoke up. I'm going to leave it on a few more seconds because I like to get it really, really smoky. The next step after this is going to be to take it off of the burner. We're going to set it aside, let it cool off, and then we're going to season it. To season it, you can use either ghee or MCT oil. If you want to be super carnivore and use nothing but animal products, you could season it with some ghee. Me personally, I'm going to use the spray MCT oil because that's what I've been using to season the pan ever since I got it, and it works really, really well. I haven't tried using the ghee, but you can give it a try, see which one works for you guys. I'm gonna take it off the burner right now because it's getting pretty smoky, and I will see you guys again soon when it's time to season it. All right, now that I'm fed and showered and the pot is nice and cool, we can go ahead and do the seasoning. So as I said, I'm gonna be doing the MCT oil. Just give it a few little sprays. You don't have to use MCT oil. You could use whatever you want as long as it is some type of oil. Then you're gonna take a paper towel, fold it up a little bit, and you want to really massage the pan. So you're going to go ahead and try and spread that oil all over. And one thing that a lot of people forget to do when they are re-seasoning the pan is they forget to do the outside and the edges. So you really want to get all of it if you want to get the best seasoning on the pan possible. Once you do the inside, don't neglect the outside. You want to do the outside as well. Once that's all been completed, same thing as when we dried it off. We are going to put it on the highest possible setting on the oven or on the stove, and we're gonna wait for it to smoke up. Now, unlike when we were drying it, when I dry it, I like a lot of smoke. When I am seasoning it and I am just trying to heat it up a little bit, as soon as I see a little bit of smoke, I'll leave it for about 10, maybe 15 seconds, and then I'll take it off. I don't want to create too much smoke. If I create too much smoke, that is going to ruin the seasoning on the pan, and then when you go to cook stuff on it, it's not going to be as non-stick as it would have had you taken it off after a few seconds of it smoking up. So we're just going to leave it until it begins to smoke up just a little bit, and then once it starts to smoke, we're going to take it off, and then that's it. That's going to be done. I'm not sure if you guys can see this right now, but it is beginning to smoke up a little bit. I'm just going to leave it out for a few more seconds, and there we go. That's it. A perfectly clean and seasoned skillet. And that is how you clean and season a cast iron skillet. Thanks again for tuning in. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to like this video so I know to make more of these types of videos. And once again, if you're either new to the channel or haven't subscribed yet, be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell as I will be uploading new videos daily. That's it for today's video. Thanks for tuning in, and I will see you again next time.